Hey guys, Steve Welch here, Beaman Toyota in Nashville. Wanted to do a video, and I've been wanting to do this video for a long time, guys. And it's basically due to a customer of mine that came, and he was reaching out to me, and he said, "Hey, I bought that Infiniti from you a while ago. I'm ready to get a new one. It's been, several years. Got a lot of miles on it now. I want to get a new one." And I said, "Well, I don't have that in, an Infiniti SUV like the one you've got, but I've got a really nice Pathfinder that's going to be really close." And he responded to me, and he's like, "Oh, no. I would never buy a Nissan." And then he responded without missing a beat to all the reasons he'd never buy a Nissan. And I had to break it to him that an Infiniti is built by Nissan. He had no idea. So he had been bad-mouthing the brand that he actually loved. He loved that car. So he was bad-mouthing the brand the whole time. He never had an idea. So I got to thinking, how many people don't know that a brand that they love has an alternate vehicle, a brand that they hate has an alternate vehicle? Who doesn't know a lot of this stuff? So I figured I would go through and I would kind of get a list together, and I got to looking and noticed Consumer Reports and put one together. So I'm going to use part of their list and give you some of my opinions, some of things that I know along the way, not trying to get into a big history of stuff or anything like that. That's really not the point of this. I'm just trying to get a little bit of maybe a wow moment from you, maybe teach you something you didn't know. Maybe there's something you could put in the comments and say, "Hey, I didn't realize this, that, the other thing." So definitely give me a thumbs up and like and subscribe here, and we're going to kind of go over this list now. Listed in alphabetical order. Why? Because alphabetical order is a good one because people use it for stuff. So first one on the list is BMW. Won't shock you to know that BMW owns BMW. Now, like I said, not a shocker, right? But a couple ones you might not know about BMW is that they also own Mini. So the Mini Coopers, they own those, and they'll also own the Rolls-Royce brand. So those are some additional ones that they have. Now, I will mention too that there are sometimes that car manufacturers that don't necessarily have a affiliation or a bought out or something like that. A lot of times they'll collaborate on something. Something like BMW does collaborate with Toyota on the Supra, stuff like that. So I know like Toyota has a partnership with Mazda, like on the Yaris IA, and stuff like that. So there are sometimes you'll see little collaborations between them. So it's not necessarily that they own the company, because they usually don't. They might build the car, nameplates, things like that can come into play. But second on our list in alphabetical order is Daimler. Now, and I'm probably saying that wrong, Daimler, however you say it, but most people, they don't know that name unless they've been around for a while or they've researched, car history. But most people know the car they're most known for, which is Mercedes-Benz. All right, so Daimler, if you look in history, Daimler would be Daimler-Benz, and that's part of how they came up. Now they're just Mercedes-Benz, or Benz, but Daimler is actually their parent company, so it's who owns them. So what else does Daimler own? It might shock you to know. Smart car. Daimler is the smart car. They build it, so they own that. There's something else that they also own, and it's actually part of the Mercedes brand, but it's the Sprinter vans. So that's something that is a lot of times people notice that emblem on the front of the Sprinter van. It's Mercedes. Goes, "Hey, really, Mercedes?" It's actually built by Mercedes. So it's actually a pretty good one to know. So next one, once again, alphabetical order, Ford Motor Company. Ford Motor Company doesn't have like GM has a ton of offshoots that they do. Ford doesn't really have that. Ford is Ford and Lincoln. So Lincoln is the luxury brand of Ford. So like I said, they actually look a little different. Logos look a little different. You'll see those here on the screen. But yeah, Ford and Lincoln go hand in hand, and that's what those are. So now we'll get into GM. GM has several brands. They have shrunk how many they have, but So GM's going to own a few of them here, and I'll talk about the defunct ones here and what I can pull off the top of my head here in a second. But so General Motors owns Buick. All right, so Buick cars and SUVs, of course. They own Cadillac, Chevrolet, GMC. Now they did own Hummer before and then sold it, and now it's coming back again somehow. It's a big circle. So that's something else there. But and then they're also, we were talking about those collaborations earlier, they're also about to collaborate with Honda to actually build the frame and the power system to a electric vehicle that Honda is going to be releasing coming up. So just read a news story about that. So you're going to have GM powertrain and GM frame on a Honda badged car. So that could be interesting. So we'll have to see what goes on with that and how that works out. But I did want to mention too, obviously being with Toyota, that got to brag a little bit about Toyota. So Toyota actually, for the first time in history, beat General Motors in the total amount of cars sold in the past quarter. So they beat GM in the total amount of cars sold in the last quarter. Now, is it by a ton? No, I think it's 577 cars. They did not, wipe the floor with GM, and I'm sure GM will be back. It's currently in the situation we're in right now with the chip shortage. Toyota did better than about anybody else in managing that. So that's my opinion, of course, but the sales kind of prove that, I think. But yeah, so Toyota wins. We'll take our victory lap, I'm sure, and we'll see what happens after that. GM's a massive company. I'm sure that they'll be back on top, but it's good to win one, right, guys? So but kudos to everybody, all my cohorts out there in the Toyota world. But anyway, so back to our list here. All right, the next one on the list is Honda. All right, so Honda is gonna have Acura and Honda. So Acura is the luxury version of Honda, right? So that's the upper end there of Honda. So Honda, Acura, they're going to be very similar in powertrains, things like that, like everything else we're talking about. Hyundai, all right. So Hyundai is actually kind of interesting because you have Hyundai, you have Genesis, and you have Kia. And those are three brands all owned by Hyundai. So Genesis was it was a Hyundai Genesis when it first came out, and then it kind of spun off, and they made a couple different, I guess you'd call nameplates under the Genesis, and made it a brand of its own. So you have the Hyundai, the Kia, and the Genesis all within those. So now Mazda, and Mazda owns Mazda. They haven't really they don't really have an outshoot or a separate nameplate that they like to work under. So that being said, so the Renault, however you want to say that, Nissan Mitsubishi Alliance. Okay, so it's pretty much Nissan, obviously, but there's a lot of little companies that were all kind of combined into there. So Nissan, like I said earlier, owns Infiniti, Mitsubishi, and Nissan. All right, Stellantis. Now this is the one that is going to have a lot of people going, huh? Just because of it. Stellantis hasn't been around that long, and most people don't have a clue what Stellantis is. If you look at it, it's going to be Chrysler. All right, so Chrysler is the one that most people think about when they think about these particular brands. But it was Chrysler, and then it went to Fiat Chrysler America, and then Fiat Chrysler, and it might not have been just America, but Fiat Chrysler, and then Chrysler merged with Peugeot, and then they created, I guess, Stellantis from there. It says from Stelio, meaning to brighten with the stars. But FCA, or Fiat Chrysler, automobiles sold in the U.S. are now under Stellantis. So which ones are they? this is where you'll be interested here, guys, because you might not know a few of these, and I bet this list will be the ones you don't know. But under Stellantis, Alfa Romeo, Chrysler, Dodge, Fiat, Jeep. Here we go, guys. Maserati, Ram, right? And overseas, there's a Citroen, DS Automobiles, Opel, Peugeot, and Vauxhall are other Stellantis brands. All right. So now on to the next one. Once again, alphabetical order. Great order. Subaru owns Subaru. That's it. So now I will mention that Toyota does have, a stake in Subaru. Toyota also has a stake in Suzuki. There's some of these other cars might have that kind of a relationship where they own a portion of some of the other ones. I just know those off the top of my head, so that is what that is. But so Toyota, obviously that's the next one on, or actually, let me back up. Tata is the next one on the list. And look a little bit further down that list than I should have. Tata is a Indian company out of India, and owns Jaguar and Land Rover. So a lot of times people don't realize that. So, but those are the two they own. Now, next one is Tesla. Tesla owns, well, Tesla. That's what they own. So they probably have stakes in other car companies or peripheral companies, whatever. But as for a brand, I believe that Tesla, I believe this list is right. Tesla only owns Tesla. Toyota, obviously Toyota owns Lexus and Toyota with that stake, like I said, in Subaru and Suzuki. It also had the Scion brand, which is, they kind of wrapped that back into the Toyota brand, but they had Scion around for a while. So if you're looking at a used car and go, what's a Scion? Or some people would pronounce it wrong, so call it a Scion, whatever. But what's a Scion? A Scion is a Toyota in most cases. Now they did have a partnership with Mazda that made that Scion IA, which then turned to the Yaris IA, and that's actually built in a partnership with Mazda. So something else to let you guys know from there, right? All right, so Volkswagen. This one is also interesting, just like the Stellantis one was. So Volkswagen produces several vehicles that you will recognize, but you probably won't associate them with Volkswagen. So what are they? Audi, Bentley, Bugatti, Lamborghini, Porsche, and Volkswagen. This one is probably the strangest one, and the reason for that is that everything's a luxury car except for the parent name. So now Volkswagens, they're not a base model car, they're not a tin can, don't get me wrong on that, but the lowest level car is the Volkswagen on that list. Listen to it again: Audi, Bentley, Bugatti, Lamborghini, Porsche, and Volkswagen. The lowest level is Volkswagen, guys. Everything else is a very big name on that list. So obviously I believe they're all German cars, so that makes sense for there. So the last one on this list is Zhejiang. I'm not sure how to pronounce that right there, however that name is right there, but Geely Holding Group. So, and that's Lotus, Polestar, and Volvo. In the US, pretty much Volvo is going to be the one you're going to know off of that. But I believe it's a Chinese company, but don't quote me on that. So, but yeah, that's our list, guys. Pretty cool list there, I think, and maybe you learned something. I tell you what, the Stellantis one and the Volkswagen ones, the reason that I kind of focused on those is because those were both of the ones where I went, really? And maybe you did too. Let me know. Definitely put a like in there. If this video taught you something, give me a like, give me a thumbs up. Give me a subscribe there. I'm trying to build those up. I appreciate everyone that subscribed to me, and you guys take a look at the videos I do. So I always try to help you guys out, try to give you something that maybe somebody else hasn't given you, or help you get knowledge on something that helps you guys out. But Steve Welch with Beaman Toyota in Nashville. I hope you guys have a great day, and I look forward to bringing you another video here shortly. Steve Welch, Beaman Toyota. You guys have a good one. Bye.